space, there is no air, there is no time, and there is no end to the universe. It is an endless vacuum of infinite possibilities. And humans from planet Earth are once again out there, probing the limits of their engineering capabilities, shooting bigger and more powerful rockets, breaking the pull of gravity, establishing stations in near space, observation posts to the deep beyond, planning a return to moon landings, and this time not just to visit, but to establish permanent bases on the lunar surface. Welcome to the 21st century space race, when it is no longer about war, but about commerce. Because the future that now beckons has short space jumps, longer space vacations, and life on exotic, orbiting space hotels. Even journeys to a planet next door. Billionaire Elon Musk, whose SpaceX is at the forefront of private enterprise in space, announced plans to land humans on Mars by 2026 and a colony of 1 million people there by 2050. Half a century after the first landing on the moon, humans are preparing to retrace their footprints on the dusty surface of Earth's satellite. In 2008, NASA's Moon Mineralogy Mapper on the Indian Space Research Organization's Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft discovered proof of water on the moon. So now, there is a global race underway to go back to the moon. And there are valid reasons for the rush. The moon is a stepping platform for going to Mars and beyond. Oxygen and hydrogen could be sourced from lunar ice to make rocket propellants. Moon also has helium-3 that could power future fusion rockets. It makes sense for private enterprise to reach for the stars, because that is where out-of-the-world profits can be secured. The sun was about to set. SpaceX capsule parachuted into the Atlantic Ocean off the Florida coast after 3 days of orbiting around the Earth.
The crew out of the capsule, so you can see some boats headed towards Dragon.
Within a few minutes, a pair of SpaceX boats pulled up alongside the bobbing capsule.
And there she is.
The 4-member amateur crew inside the capsule had streaked back through the atmosphere on 18th of September, becoming the first space travelers to end their flight in the Atlantic Ocean since Apollo 9 in 1969. SpaceX Inspiration 4 and its all-amateur crew had shot off to space from the Kennedy Space Center, Florida, on 15th of September 2021.
Copy, 1 Alpha.
The crew orbited the Earth at a height of 585 kilometers. That's about 160 kilometers higher than the International Space Station.
When we first got strapped into the rocket, it felt like time was moving really slowly. Like the countdown clock was barely moving. And then when you got down to like the last 5 minutes, it was racing. And we just saw those numbers disappear real quick. And before you knew it, you heard liftoff. And then the whole journey uphill was only about 12 minutes. So before we knew it, we were hanging our straps and floating. And then we were like, what do we do next? Because it happened so fast.
Strangers until March, the 4 crew members spent 6 months training and preparing for potential emergencies during the Inspiration 4 space flight. The rocket ship was commanded by billionaire adventurer Jared Isaacman, who is an accomplished and licensed pilot of aeroplanes on planet Earth. He was joined by medical officer Haley Arkanow, a physician assistant and a child cancer survivor. Also on board were mission specialist Chris Sembrowski, an Air Force veteran and aerospace engineer, and Dr. Sian Proctor, a geoscientist, entrepreneur, and trained pilot.
Hey everyone, so what we're looking at is the Earth perspective. So we are flying this huge window, the biggest window that's ever been flown in space, and looking through the window, we can see the entire parameter of the Earth, which is so beautiful. And so I hope that you're getting to see what we see, which is passing over some really beautiful water.
Jared Isaacman reportedly paid an amount in millions of dollars for the trip. He and his 3 guests wanted to show that ordinary people could blast into orbit by themselves. And SpaceX founder Elon Musk took them on as the company's first rocket-riding tourists.
Because we're trying to open the frontier for more people and open up space to more humans, we're going to be bringing more of our humanities with us. And so, along with art and music, and so we have this custom ukulele that was made. It's got our I-4 patch there, and it's right there inlaid on the fretboard. So it's been a lot of fun getting some practice on some music while we're floating around the Earth. So I can play a little for you, but you can turn your volume down if you wish, but I'll give it a shot.
The crew had a choice of meals that included cold pizza and sandwiches, pasta bolognese, and Mediterranean lamb.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Dragon capsule here in space.
They took calls, including one from Hollywood actor Tom Cruise, interested in his own upcoming SpaceX flight to the space station for filming. The crew members watched films in space while orbiting Earth. This first flight is but the trailblazer of space tourist flights to come, as space tourism becomes more feasible. SpaceX anticipates as many as 6 private flights a year in the times to come. 4 SpaceX flights are already booked to carry paying customers to the space station, accompanied by former NASA astronauts. Sometime in early 2022, the first of these flights would blast off, carrying 3 businessmen who have each reportedly paid $55 million apiece for their seats. Amongst the spacefaring nations, private enterprise has for long been a part of spaceflight in the US. Since the 1960s, there have been private contractors building spacecraft for NASA. Half a century later, it is not an aberration that NASA is relying on companies like SpaceX and Boeing to build spacecraft to carry the next generation of astronauts into space. SpaceX developed reusable rockets and since 2012 has been running regular cargo resupply missions to the International Space Station. In May 2020, a SpaceX craft took astronauts to the space station and brought them back. Boeing is all set to have their spacecrafts ferrying astronauts to the ISS. Companies such as Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic are specializing in suborbital space tourism. NASA believes that there is an imaginary line 50 miles or 80.46 kilometers above Earth. And that is where space begins. So when on 11th of July, billionaire Richard Branson, his 3 fellow co-passengers, and the 2 pilots of VSS Unity soared above that line, they earned their astronaut wings.
It's one of the best feelings of my life. I mean, I've waited nearly 70 years for this, and it's been a dream since I was a little boy, building cardboard spaceships, and now to have had this wonderful team create this incredible spaceship and to have gone to space. I'm still pinching myself, still not sure whether I'm going to wake up and realize it was all a dream.
You're in zero gravity for 4 minutes.
But billionaire Jeff Bezos, roughly 43 times richer than Branson, disagrees with the scope of what the poorer billionaire achieved. Because if one goes by the international standard, then space begins at 62 miles, or 100 kilometers above the surface of the Earth.
The Kármán line, as it is called, is the invisible second line beyond which air is too thin to support conventional aircraft. So that is where the UN, an internationally accepted norm, puts the beginning of space. Jeff Bezos has claimed that not only will he actually go to the edge of space, but his spaceship is bigger and better and has bigger windows than Branson's VSS Unity. Then there is another billionaire, even richer than Jeff Bezos, who has been eyeing space, though he personally has not announced any plans to leave terra firma for the time being. A bare-feet Elon Musk was seen visiting Branson at 3 a.m. on the morning of the Virgin boss's space escapade. The photo that Branson tweeted showed Musk bare feet. The reason for being without shoes remains unknown. Musk, who founded SpaceX and is firmly in the business of space exploration, was also there at the celebration party when Branson and company landed back on Earth.
I'll get out of the way.
And having flown to space, I can see even more clearly how Virgin Galactic is the space line for Earth. We're here to make space more accessible to all, and we want to turn the next generation of dreamers into the astronauts of today and tomorrow.
It is now open season in space for the riches of the world. In March 2021, a Japanese fashion billionaire announced that he was looking for 8 crew members for a mission to the moon. The Dear Moon project is slated for a 2023 launch when a SpaceX rocket will make a week-long journey to the moon and back. In 2018, Yusaku Maezawa had bought up all the available 8 seats, and in March this year, he began the process of filling the seats, shortlisting applicants from around the world. Maezawa currently is under training for his own 8th December 2021 flight aboard a Soyuz rocket to the International Space Station. Where once the space race was entirely fueled by nationalistic pride and by the Cold War era, today it is seeing new energy in the fulfilling of billionaire fantasies. But this spurt in space exploration, beside making money for the businessmen, will benefit mankind in general. A lot of indirect benefit normally accrues from space exploration. Some of the benefits that came out of earlier space engineering efforts include improved solar panels, implantable heart monitors, light-based anti-cancer therapy, cordless tools, cameras found in today's cell phones, air purifiers, enriched baby formula, memory foam, and cordless vacuum cleaners. There are interesting times ahead, as in the next 20 years, fueled also by private enterprise, space exploration will see a massive push towards what lies beyond Earth's gravity.
When 2021 began, there was only one space station that circled the Earth. The International Space Station, ISS, that is jointly run by the USA, Russia, Europe, Japan, and Canada. Up and running since 1998, the ISS has been conducting thousands of experiments to further the cause of science for different nations of the world, except one. Since 2011, China has officially been barred from the ISS because of a US law. 10 years later, China came up with its own solution.
Every 92.2 minutes, 400 kilometers in the sky, there is a Chinese space station circumnavigating the Earth, marking Beijing's challenge to US domination of space. Over the last 2 decades, China has been on an overdrive to catch up with, overtake, and zip ahead of every other spacefaring nation, something that has seriously alarmed the strategists in Washington. On 29th of April 2021, China launched Tianhe aboard its massive heavy-lift Long March 5B rocket. Tianhe, or Harmony of Heavens, is the core module of the space station Tiangong that China is building 400 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. Tianhe is the space station's core module, and it is already up and running. A powerful central computer is already processing data from experiments and beaming them back to Earth. The 55 feet Tianhe, containing life support and control systems, is designed as the living quarters, and since June 2021, it had been host to 3 taikonauts who had taken up residence for 90 days, conducting research experiments and doing spacewalks.
回来的感觉非常好，飞上太空的感觉。
It feels really great to fly into space. During our 3-month space journey, we completed a great number of space station construction tasks and many scientific experiments. During our free time, I also experienced the depth and wonder of space. I always believe that as long as you work hard, you will better yourself. At this moment, I miss my family very much and comrade in arms. I want to say this to my parents in my hometown Hunan, Dad and Mom. I am back. I'm in good health and good spirit.
家的父母说一句：“爹爹妈妈，我回来了，身体好，精神好，飞船好。”
In May, even before the humans docked with the module, China had sent the unmanned Tianzhao 2, or heavenly ship, to deliver cargo to Tianhe. The Tiangong is being built on the modular design, just like the older International Space Station ISS. By 2022, Tianhe will be joined by Wentian, Quest for Heavens, and Mengtian, Dreaming of Heaven modules, which will mainly house scientific experiments. The Tiangong space station will have 14 experiment racks and 50 external probes. 1,000 experiments have already been booked by international organizations. One of them, the spectroscopic investigation of nebula gas, is an experiment jointly proposed by Indian Institute of Astrophysics and Russia's Institute of Astronomy. China also has bigger plans in the works for spacecrafts, as it is now exploring ideas on how to build one that is 10 times the size of ISS, or about a kilometer in length.
随着中国综合实力和
With China's growing strength and rising level of Chinese technology, there will be more astronauts setting new records and creating new heights for China. China's aerospace workers will uphold missions and make new achievements and fight relentlessly for our motherland's aerospace industry.
为祖国的航天事业不懈奋斗。
With the aging ISS on its last leg of operations, very soon there might again be just one space station in the sky above the Earth. And then it will just be the Chinese one.